I think the one thing you could say about the Fallout show so far is that they have absolutely nailed the aesthetic of the Fallout franchise. You've got the over the top dark humor, you've got the over the top sort of senseless violence that we accept because it is the Fallout universe. It's a crazy place where the Vault Dwellers are viewed as sort of like these mythical creatures, but also spoiled rich kids who were able to go into hiding because their parents had lots of money while the rest of the world burned. And so I think everything that you see and love from the game, that's from the games, that's there for the fans of the franchise, and then for new viewers, it's easing us into this world. Fairly steadily. I said at the end of the first episode that I wasn't sure where they were going to go with the second episode. I was definitely surprised, but I also feel like this one they kind of slowed it down a little bit to give us a little more of the world building as opposed to pushing us just, beelining for the main story. Although we still do get main story elements here, which I'm going to spoil moving forward. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, make sure to pause, go watch it, come back, and we'll be good to go. I don't do spoiler free. I am doing all of these episodes, one per day is the plan, as long as, internet outages and power outages and stuff hold up where we live because of the storms. So if you like all that kind of stuff, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and we'll go on from there. You had your spoiler warning, so from here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So Wilzig, I think is his name, is the character of the escaped scientist who has a dog, and so we're getting throwbacks to those of you who remember the dog. And for those of you who don't know, the dog is a big deal. So at least in terms of fan favorites from the game franchise. So I don't know what's up with Will's character yet. So we get an early scene of him right before he fled. First and foremost, he saved a puppy that wasn't supposed to be saved. The puppy was supposed to be any puppies under 10 ounces, I think it was, were supposed to be incinerated, and we see puppies getting incinerated, which was not cool, from a poor puppy standpoint. But he saves this one. It's like a couple of whatever grams shy, and he goes ahead and says it's, and then he raises it. He hides it in his apartment, and where he's doing research until he gets caught. Now, when he gets caught, it's this scene where he's injected himself with something behind the ear. It's a glowing little microchip or something. And that comes into play towards the end of the episode. I don't know what that is yet. We still don't know. But that's this story of him, he's a scientist, he's working on something, he grows a puppy he's not supposed to grow, injects this thing, and then he's doing this scene in his apartment where another scientist comes in, sees the dog, flips the alarm. The dog kills the guy, and now he has to go on the run, and that's sort of why why they are searching for him. Now, I don't know what facility he was in. Was it a Brotherhood of Steel facility or some other facility? Was it an Enclave facility? Because remember this whole thing about the Enclave? We've got Enclave, we've got Brotherhood of Steel. There's all this stuff going on. But we know now why they're searching for him, because he has some sort of a chip that is desired. So we'll see where that goes. That plays out in dividends towards the end of the episode because essentially, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. The main action in this one takes place in this village where Lucy's character arrives, trailing her dad, and it's your typical post-apocalyptic, settlement where everything's for sale. They're selling dog meat and all this other stuff, and it's not a nice place to be. She's there looking for her dad, and she stumbles into the pawn shop, the general store, looking for information, and the lady who runs is like, "Holy shit, it's an actual vault dweller," and then the speech about, you're just privileged rich kids who got to live out in the safety of your vaults while the rest of us burned. So get the fuck out of here. I don't want you here. As this is going down, the scientist guy arrives with the dog, but unfortunately the ghoul is waiting for him out front. The ghoul shoots his shin, blows his foot off, and there's this showdown that happens, and as this is all going down, Maximus arrives. Now, Maximus has had his own troubling journey in the early episodes of this show, where he realizes and it's Kennedy, what's his name, the comedian who just rants all the time. I always forget his name. Jamie Kennedy? No, that's a different actor. I'm thinking of a wrong actor. Who the heck is the guy who played Titus? Anyway, he's a comedian actor. I can't remember his name. I know he's always getting in trouble on social media for being a loudmouth. Anyway, Maximus, Max realizes that the knights aren't what they were cracked up to be. There's this scene where where they get dropped um, off the helicopter, and he has to go help this guy who's just bored. Essentially, he's just a bored knight who's pissed off at having to go off and do these boring little missions, and he wants to just go shoot something because he's bored. So they drop out of the helicopter, they go down, they find a mutant cave, a super mutant, and basically there's this really funny scene where the guy in power armor's running from the mutant, just like fuck, 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 fuck. And he's really injured, and he's asking Max to help him, but he's been a dick to Max through the whole, especially having him like polish his cod piece in the helicopter. That was really fun. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Um, And Max is like, you know what? You're not worthy of that armor. You're not what a knight is supposed to be. A knight is supposed to uphold the virtues and save the weak, and you're not doing any of those things. You're out here bored, like shooting things just because you can, and you're being a dick. So he basically just lets the dude die, and then takes his suit of armor and starts calling himself Titus, right? And so he shows up in the village, and initially he's winning the fight against the ghoul until he begins to screw things up because he doesn't know how to operate the suit properly. And the ghoul, cuts a hydraulic line, and that shoots him off, with jets into the distance and separates them. But for a moment, he does meet Lucy, and Lucy's like, "Oh, hey, thank you." And so there's a lot of mythology between these two because there's the mythology of the people who've never seen a vault dweller before, and then there's the mythology of Lucy, who's never seen a knight before, but she's heard of them. Um, in that fight sequence, Max gets punted off into the distance, and in the fight, Lucy manages to escape with, I forget his name now, Warzig or whatever, the scientist who's had his leg blown off or his shin blown, his foot blown off. And it turns out that he is supposed to be delivered to the same lady who captured her dad. So now it's like, okay, if I want to get to my dad, I got to take this guy there. But along the way, they get out into the desert, and he reveals to her that he's just taken a cyanide pill because he's never going to make it in the condition that he's in. So he took the cyanide pill to off himself, but he wants Lucy to cut his head off and take his head to the crazy lady who kidnapped Lucy's dad. And I'm assuming it has something to do with the chip in his neck. That's that's the only plausible story thing, because he's like, just take my head. And so that's kind of where we're left off at the end of this episode. Is Lucy needs to take this head across the wastelands to deliver it to the crazy lady who kidnapped her dad, and the ghoul has the dog, which is going to track the two of them as they go across the wastelands. I'm not sure how Max is going to catch up with them or not. I suppose we'll see that in the next episode. And whether or not he's going to continue to have the power armor is another question entirely, because it was pretty mangled because of the fight, and he doesn't know how to use it that well. We also, I think at this point, realizing that Max was willing to let the knight die, I think it's more and more plausible that Max put the razor blade in the boot. I think it's more and more plausible every day, everybody. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Every day we're going to be doing these episodes, so hopefully we'll see you there. Don't forget daily streams here and on Twitch. There's a Patreon and a Discord. I'll see you there, everybody.